Today, I am so excited to welcome someone I've known since our Thurston middle school days, the hilarious, whip-smart, and fiercely intentional Laura Linsenmayer. Laura is the founder of Roots the Beauty Underground, a clean beauty haven in Laguna Beach that's helped people detox their skincare routines and reconnect with what's real, effective, and healthy, all without losing the glamour. She's a leading voice in clean beauty space, and her work is rooted, no pun intended, in integrity, science, and stunning aesthetics. Laura's also a resilient small business owner who navigated the storm of COVID with creativity and grit, all the while staying true to her mission. She's had a peek at chapter 1 of my new book, and I can't wait to dive into her story from startup to standout with all of you. Get ready for some laughs, some truth bombs, and a whole lot of inspiration. All right, Laura, so good to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. Let's start with your journey and the creation of Roots. Like a lot of our listeners, I'm hoping, are getting inspired and they're getting ideas and they're thinking about, okay, this is cool. Like I have this idea, but how do I start? Right? So my first question for you is, before Roots became an iconic clean beauty destination and it was just an idea, could you walk us through how it all began?
So interesting. I really tap into the spirituality of all of it. I really feel divinely guided. Each step along the way took me. I feel like, I always knew, I've always been in the beauty industry, went to beauty school right out of high school. So just always been in the beauty industry. I never quite knew what I was going to do, kind of finding my way. I learned about clean beauty early on in early 2000s in LA. I learned about organic hair color. And I was doing hair in LA, met these girls. They were opening a salon using organic hair color. And I was like, wait, what's that? Wait a minute. Tell me more, And then I started on the rabbit hole of going, wait, why is this clean? What do you mean? What's the opposite of that? And just starting to do my research. And I couldn't believe there wasn't a clean beauty hub. It was a gap in the market in this huge beauty industry with, so much oversaturation. There's a gap in the market of something that's good for humanity, making a difference in the world. I just couldn't even believe it. So I was like, bingo, I know what I need to do now. And I really learned through that. It's not like I learned just with everybody else as I was building the business. I just knew it was the right move to do it. And as far as it's so funny, the name Roots the Beauty Underground. I mean, I thought of that when I was 22 years old. It came to me and I was late nights, I'd be like, I'm going to open this and it's going to be like this. And I've been talking about this for 20 years, and then it was so fun when it actually happened and people would go, I remember when you were saying this 15 years ago, so lots of manifestation, speaking it into existence.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy. I feel like for us, entrepreneurs is I see it as speaking things into existence. Other people can see it as oh, they say all these things and are they really ever going to do them? But it's very much, we're both Sagittarius, it's very much speak our reality into existence. And I feel like that's totally what's happened.
Yeah. No, you're so right. Well, if you don't speak it first, how is it ever going to come into fruition?
And the energy starts to pick up momentum.
Yeah. I mean, you have to talk about it because a lot of times you need other people to get on the same program, to get around you.
That's
right.
And
the only way other people can get behind you is if they've heard about it, if you're communicating it. It's like learning to find your voice.
Totally.
Yeah. So first, find your voice.
First, find your voice. Exactly. And lock in on that intention. I was locked in on it. It wasn't well, should I? And maybe, and well, maybe I should do that. No, I locked in on it, Yeah. Thank God. I don't know how, I just knew it was something that I needed to do.
That's amazing. And that was so many years ago. Was that 13, 14 years ago now?
The business has been operating for almost 13. So, and then the conception was a year. So yeah, we're almost 14 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. That's so amazing. And it's come so far.
Yeah.
And it's lasted through the biggest challenge of our lifetime.
Yeah.
How did you cope How did you pivot and adjust and conquer during COVID?
Well, God, triggering.
Right? For real.
Super triggering.
Yeah.
It was so fascinating when that all hit and like it was like shut down. The coolest thing, all of our clients jumped in and were like, we want to make sure you don't go anywhere.
That's
it was the
amazing.
client support was insane. They came to
Nice.
us. Like I didn't need to, be advertising and They straight up came up and said, what do we need to do to keep buying from you and make sure you don't go anywhere?
Wow.
And that was profound.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you set that up? Did you go online? Did you deliver to people's homes?
Yeah, both. All of the above. I mean, it
Wow.
would be like, what a wacky time. My whole system was off course. I would like wake up at noon and stay at the shop till 2 a.m. Just to-do lists and surviving, and I would leave the store at midnight and go drive around and hand deliver on doorsteps.
Yeah.
And take over to the post office and then, we have a little Dutch door. So we would have like pickups in the door.
Yeah.
And that would, thank God, because, deep conversations were had.
Nice. That was nice. Yeah, you do have your little Dutch door. So people could come and just swing by, call you, say what they need, and they can just swing by and pick it up.
Yeah.
Like a drive-through.
Yeah, that was intense.
Way to pivot.
Right.
And it takes such creativity and strength to like make those changes. And you never know when they're going to come in life, but it's all about how we can be resilient in business and how, to stay alive.
Yeah.
Always.
Literally.
Yeah.
Never once did I go, I quit. This is too hard. I could have, definitely. Right. I mean, I feel like I'm still recovering from all that. I like burnt out my adrenals and all that type of stuff. But yeah, never once did I feel like I couldn't pull it off. It was like, I almost thrive in survival mode, unfortunately.
Me too. I think that's why I have so many kids.
Right? Seriously. Add another one to the plate and then right above.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Totally. I feel like every time I have a baby, I start another company. I don't know, Laura, make me stop.
That's cosmic.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's very energetic.
That's a thing. That's an actual thing for me.
Wow.
We've been looking at our companies and we're like, oh, we had a baby that year. We started a company that year. We had a baby that year. We started a company that year. And you can like look at our rhythm and it's like, there's something about like that creative birthing, that process for us.
Like, and like you're in the mode of, it's a mode that you're in. Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. Jeez.
Oh my God. Well, take me back to the inception. So like the actual like in and outs of like, okay, I have this great idea. It's going to be a non-toxic beauty shop. I know what I'm going to call it. What do you do? Did you write a business plan? How did you find your investors?
Good question. From that point, I went, okay, where am I not skilled? I needed corporate training.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to get a job in a management position I got a job at Bare Essentials way back when up in LA.
Cool.
And I was like, okay, this is research. I'm doing research for for my grander vision. And being in that was the cleanest company at the time. So I thought, okay, perfect. That's where I'll go. And then, really volunteering and being like, I want to go to every meeting. I want to go to every class. I want to learn everything, the ins, the outs, the operations, procedures. Thank God I did that. I wouldn't have pulled this off if I didn't do that.
Isn't that amazing? See, that's great advice. Yeah. If you don't know something, go to a big company and learn it.
Go and just be like, and there's no rush. Why like rush into something and then like fumble it, Right. I kind of did step by step and went, okay, all right, I feel good about this. I feel like I got it. Now I'll go to the next one,
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to pull that off without learning operations procedures, checklists, templates,
right.
Understanding creating the flow and creating, I literally took every idea they had and just put my, twist on it.
Right.
And then, when opening Roots, straight up had a binder and had all the paper, the documents, and then made my own versions of everything, you know.
Amazing. Yeah, because you need all of those operating procedures and manuals and employee manuals.
I don't know how anybody would do it without it.
Yes.
Because even with all that preparation I had, it still wasn't, now it needs to be implemented.
Right.
And so even that implementation process was like chaotic and hectic, and there were so many balls in the air, and, you know, and I was kind of more prepared. So I was like, whoa, anybody who's jumping into like, especially retail without that organization, I do not recommend that.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Retail needs you really need to be organized.
100%.
You need to have your ducks in a row.
100%.
Almost need like a master class on this. You could put one together.
I would love to do that. I've actually, from all the stuff I've created of the organization, I did it with the frame of mind of, if I were to sell this, or if I were to, you know, I could, if somebody came to me, which some people have, but things didn't pan out. They were like, I want to open a Roots. I want to open a Roots in my town, you know? And I was like, well, I got the system. It's all down to events, down to how to process returns, how to deal with it, the psychology of sales, training your staff. Like, I have all this documented.
Wow.
And I know I'm going to do something with it one day. But.
Neat. I love that. Well, if you ever need help.
Perfect. Noted. Great.
Noted. I definitely would love to come in and help you with that. That sounds like a blast, because it is a gift. It's not we live in such a blessed place, you know, not every town has their non-toxic beauty shop they can go into and, you know, have somebody do your makeup and make you look pretty and do it in a non-toxic way and send you home with all these goodies that are going to be safe for you to use on yourself and even on your children, your teenagers. You know, even my 4-year-old has her makeup from your shop.
Perfect.
I know. I was like, we're not going to get the stuff from CVS. No. Gross. And what's in those things? Could you give me your top? I want to hear the dozen
that makes me
that
so
you've
sad,
got.
especially thinking about the kids.
There are children
makeup,
that are putting
the heavy metals with their little ovaries and their little organs forming.
Oh my God.
It's criminal.
It really is.
And it makes me mad.
Yeah. Read me the dirty dozen, please.
So, I mean, this is the top 12.
Yeah.
You know, there's over 1,400 chemicals, you know what I mean? But this is just the America's top 12. BHA, BHT, coal tar dyes, DEA, formaldehyde releasing preservatives. I would say the number one is fragrance. 100%. Synthetic fragrance, gotta go. It's linked to anything and everything, throwing off your hormones, hair loss, infertility. I mean, everything. It's like synthetic fragrance must be banned, period.
Wow. Well, I noticed a huge difference in my health. My 15-year-old was like, let's go get fragrance, Mom. And I was like, okay. So we went and got fragrance, and I haven't worn real live perfume in like 15 years.
Sure.
Started wearing it like a month ago. I've been sick 3 times, and I haven't been sick in like 15 years.
Totally.
And so I looked at it after I watched a video. I saw a reel on how toxic it is. And I was like, never again. What was I thinking? I just wanted to smell pretty.
It's insane.
I didn't realize
totally
I was
insane.
Absolutely like, I was seriously affecting my immune system.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's such an array of toxic chemicals that it's going to affect everybody differently. And I feel like that's why it's, you know, it can be like slipped through the cracks, because everybody's going to get a different, depending on like maybe what you're weak in, what your unique body's weaknesses are, it's going to attack those, which is going to show up differently in you than it's going to show up in you. So you're not seeing like one side effect. You know, it is unreal. And like, there will be clients that walk in, new clients. This is always a new client. And they walk in, there's a particular, whether it's a vibration, it's something in their microbiome of their skin I can see. And I'm like, you need to remove all toxic or all synthetic fragrance from your house. I can see it in their skin, in the follicles of their hair. It's a very particular look.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's next level.
Totally.
So after fragrance, what's next?
Oh my God.
Because I stopped you.
Sodium lauryl sulfate, which, you know, a lot of the greenwashing companies have caught on to. And so, sodium lauryl sulfate free by us, you know, and it's like, but you didn't clean out the other 75 toxic chemicals in your stuff, but you took this one thing out. There's so much trickery.
Yes.
There's so much deceit, you know, but yeah, sodium lauryl sulfate's one that it's caught on. A lot of people know not to get shampoo with that. So now they took it out, which speaks volumes for the people have the power.
Yeah.
If
when we know
say we're not going to buy something, they change it.
Yes.
That's the root. I'm always like, how can we change the world? And it's like, hit them in their pockets.
We knowledge is power.
That's right.
So if we educate, then we can advocate for change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I really feel like that's what the big movement is right now.
Yeah.
You know, the big push to get the food dyes out. It's like, okay, we're done with the toxic rainbow.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. See you later. You know, I can't believe we had those petroleum-based food flavorings in our children's food for 60 years, 50 years. It's unbelievable.
And are we supposed to still listen to the organization and the people that allowed that to go through? Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, right.
Like, what's happening here? And who's being held accountable? And how is this going to make sure this never happens again? How do we make sure these chemicals aren't just renamed?
Right.
That's the thing. I feel like these psychopaths who have all these chemicals that they need to put somewhere because they can't dump them in the ocean anymore.
Byproducts of the petroleum industry. Right. So it's, you know, you basically create a byproduct and then create a market for the byproduct. And then it's like, instead of having to pay someone to take away your waste, you can pay someone to buy it to use it as something else. And we have to stop
demonic.
it. Well, it's really, really sad. We should not be eating petroleum-based anything. Food colors, food flavorings, or anything. There should be no petroleum in our food. I'm sorry, it's food. It should be organic. And I think that that's just a really basic ask as a human to say that I have a basic right to eat organic food. Food that meaning organic just means food without petroleum in it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what it means. That's what organic means. And that's like a very basic thing I don't think people understand. You know, they think organic is for like rich people and hippies. And it's like, no, organic is what everything used to be before the petroleum industry infiltrated every industry we have. You know, I look at like the detergent we're washing our clothes with. That's right. It's petroleum based. It's bad for our water supply.
Fragrance.
Which
doused
is
on top.
Also petroleum based. And it's so, you know, you start looking around. Once you become aware, you start looking around and seeing it everywhere and going, wow, this is not right. How do we educate? How do we advocate? How do we bring awareness? How do we get every mom in America to wake up and say, not my kid, not my house, not me.
Right.
Yeah. Every woman in America, whether you have children or not, to say, absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're making so this is an interesting like crossover of, you know, it's interesting to observe when new clients come in, the different energy of like, I just learned all this. I have to throw everything away and I have to start over, and it's bug eyes and it's fear. I don't blame them.
Right.
However, I go into this like mode of what we're going to do is we're going to find non-toxic alternatives for everything you're currently using. And then we're going to approach it step by step by step. You know, you have a half bottle of that shampoo left, finish it up. And when you're done, then we'll get to this. Just slowing it down, like making it down so it's long-term. You know, I can only, you know, it's just not, it just isn't as effective if we jump into it like that. Yeah. And then, you know, the money spent, I have to spend all this money and change everything. And it's like, we just kind of slowly ease them into it.
And maybe just pick one area of your life at a time. Right. I think I started with shampoo.
Yeah.
I started with shampoo when I was pregnant with Julian. And I was like, I'm not going to use sodium lauryl sulfate anymore.
Yeah. Totally.
And that was a great choice because my hair is healthier now than it ever was before.
Right.
And I was 30 years old at the time, and here I am in my 40s and my hair is even healthier.
Yep.
And, make one little change. Maybe change your detergent. Pick one little thing, make one little change at a time.
I like to think like as you run out of what you're currently using, then let's replace that. And we'll just go piece by piece. It's back to like what you were saying about organic food. I just saw this thing on social media and some guy goes, how about if we all say, instead of saying organic food, what if we say chemical food instead? Like, what if we remove it's just like vegetables or chemical vegetables, and we can really make a shift with our verbiage of like, do I choose the cucumber or the chemical cucumber? Like really clicking that, because right now there's so much stigma around, organic, makeup. That's probably so much more expensive. But it's not.
It's not.
This is all propaganda and little brainwashing stuff that that we can like totally adjust with like the words we put around it.
Yes,
I love that.
the neurolinguistics.
That's right.
I love it. We change the words. We do the same thing with birth.
Yeah.
With the Hypno Baby's birthing you change the words.
Yes.
And then you take the fear out of the thing.
Yes.
And then let's change the words with
it works.
Let's make it, is it makeup or is it chemical makeup?
Right.
Am I going to wear eyeshadow or am I going to wear chemical eyeshadow?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, changing the way we talk about things gives it way more power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, can correct.
Yeah.
I love that, Laura. You're so profound.
Dude, it's exhausting.
Oh my gosh. Well, you've been fighting a battle for a really long time.
Yeah.
This has been a long time. I feel like we're finally making some progress.
Yes.
In this country with addressing these chemicals that have been in American products for such a long time. And we're finally able to have conversations about this and say, gross.
And what a beautiful, massive, I need to like focus on this more. What a beautiful outcome of the COVID debacle was the grand awakening of what chemicals are happening around me. To see that, so we went through that really hard time of the shutdown and the great unknown and all the things. And then when it's time to start opening back up, now we're flooded with all new, inquiry. And it was like, let's go.
Yeah. I think people started asking questions.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when I made Mamalicious, one of the things that shocked me the most was the fact that our FDA has no process for approving prenatal or any product
Criminal.
in the US. So when I went to get approved in Canada, I had to go through Health Canada and I had to go through a very strict regulatory process where they looked at every single ingredient, looked at where that ingredient was coming from and had to approve every single one. And I think that we in America assume that that's what the FDA has been doing.
That's
we
the problem.
think that that's what our tax dollars have been paying for. And I can assure you, that is not the case.
Right.
In America, we were using grass, generally regarded as safe, as a platform basically to approve everything. And I'm really glad that this current HHS secretary is taking all of the ingredients that are currently in the grass schedule and putting them under a microscope because Red 40 is in there. There are toxic chemicals that are in this lineup that have never been looked at for safety. And it's about time.
It's about time. Now that we've gotten to a point where it's sperm count is estimated to be at 0 in 10 years type of vibe.
Oh my gosh. And I think we're autism is 1 in 10.
We've been squeezed to, there's no choice. We have nothing left.
Our bodies can only handle so much toxicity. At some point, our bodies are going to hit a level of toxicity with the things we're putting on our skin, the food that we're eating, the water we're drinking, the air we're breathing. At some point, the body just can't take it anymore. Like you and I were talking about, the only time that anyone can get rid of dioxin, which comes from plastics exposure, is when a mother creates a placenta. The dioxin from her body goes into that placenta. And no wonder we're seeing autism rates the way that we're seeing them, because the dioxin exposure to our firstborn children is exceptional. And, you compound that with the additional additives, the petroleum-based diet that we're ingesting, the wrappers on the foods, the cream we're putting on our skin, the perfume we're spraying on ourselves to smell pretty, the makeup we're putting on ourselves to make ourselves look pretty. In a lot of ways, I think of the geishas in Japan during the Edo period. They wanted to be beautiful, so they were covering themselves in white powder. It was lead. Those women lived to be about 26 years old. They died of lead poisoning. At what point do we open our eyes and say, enough is enough? Beauty is beautiful, but we can't allow beauty to kill us.
At that cost.
It's not at that cost. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Not at that cost. Yeah. At one point, women need to say, no, not me, not my kids, not my sister, not my mother. This is enough for us because we buy 80% of all the goods in America. We really are. We vote with our dollars. And once we educate enough people, we can really, really start changing this game. And I'm so proud of all the work that you've done doing this.
Just having the time of my life, Yeah. Just feeling like, and it's so interesting, about the desire of scaling and more and more. And oh my gosh, I could have all these stores all over the place and I could da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's what drives me is the one-on-one with each, and I'm like, oh, how do I automate that? But, the one-on-one with each one of these women and going through their things and making things and doing their makeup and teaching them this and doing the swap outs. And I'm like, you can't get that on Amazon, but how many can you really? So it's I'm loving what I'm doing. I feel like I'm making a difference. It fulfills my soul. And I make a living doing it. I don't need much. I don't have 6 kids to send to college,
right.
Which is amazing. But yeah, I just don't have that push to go higher. And I not right now anyway.
And I love that perspective too. And that's such a woman thing to be I just want to be where I am right now. I think that's such a beautiful feminine energy to be in, that just being okay with where you are and not feeling like there's this masculine standard of more, push, bigger, better, go,
That's how it was societally instilled in me. I mean, that's what I went into all this with, that frame of mind, of the bigger picture and scaling and doing everything to sell the thing, which is still amazing. I'm so glad I did it. However, I'm in a much calmer era right now of just enjoying every minute of it and, getting to talk to you and share the things. And I'm like, this is great. I have everything I need. Everything's great.
It's so amazing. Do you have a website where people can buy your stuff online?
Yeah, rootsbeauty.com.
Amazing.
And I try and keep it it's so funny. I've had different marketing people over the time, which I would love to talk to you about so many things.
Let's get into that. So many questions. We'll go have lunch and we'll talk
Let's get into some
yes.
roadblocks I've had along the way. Sometime I would love to pick your brain, but
absolutely.
I've always hit a wall with different marketing people coming in and being we can do this and we can do that, and nobody ever really does anything, which is interesting.
There's a lot of that.
And also too, I do feel energetically, I feel whatever the traditional route is, I don't align with it for whatever reason. And there's a different route I want to take. And I just need, a tribe to put that together.
There's probably an alternate technology that we could use versus what people have been doing.
Right.
We could probably come up with an out of the box way to do what you want to do. That's that new and inventive and different rather than just I have a website. I sell stuff on my website. Websites are kind of, they're kind of boring as far as a user interface goes. And I feel everybody wants more now from the, they want to have a user experience.
Right. That's what I would almost love to have a live Roots live web.
Right.
Of a camera of all these people we're working with every day or something where they're in the store with us. Or, something so much more personal versus, there was this one person who worked on the website, and all of a sudden I actually never look at the website very often just because it gives me anxiety.
Right.
I don't want to do it for some reason. And
I'm the
I
same way.
looked and it was like all these new features of like, oh, hurry up and buy. There's only 2 products left. A pop up here. Oh, are you going to sign up for our email? And I was like, oh, no. You got to clean this whole thing off. This is unacceptable. Like, I want clean, simple, effective, period, you know?
Yeah.
And like, but that's going against like,
what is now like the hard sell that's happening right now. No, but I'm like actually seeing like I'm almost like seeing a way that you can like put your Oculus on and be in the shop.
Yeah.
And like shop.
Oh my God, that's rad.
Wouldn't that be like amazing?
Yeah.
Like honestly, we are in the future and now we need to reimagine what it looks like. What does retail look like in the future? Like how can we give people like a real experience?
Oh, wow.
I'm just saying.
Love that idea, the Oculus and going on the shelves. And I mean, I've gone as far as, you know, I do FaceTime consults and that was a big thing over COVID. That was a pivot, you know, FaceTime consults with people all over the country, which I got so good at. I like figured it out. I'm like, okay, go stand by the window and do this and do that. And I could give them that same level of in-depth consultation and color match them just with our FaceTime.
Yes.
So it's like more of that.
More, I mean, like I keep saying, like we as women need to lean into technology because this is how we're going to be able to problem solve
100%.
The things that we haven't been able to do yet is because we didn't have the tech to do it, but we do now. And we will. If it doesn't exist yet, we'll write the code and we'll do it.
Totally.
Like we have people that can write code. We can do this.
Rad.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all about like pushing it to the next level and taking it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited to see where Roots Beauty ends up in the future.
Right.
Because it's what you've done is so profound, you know, like bringing it to the forefront, like such a long time ago and becoming an expert in this field. Yeah. Okay. If we had like one beauty tip that we could give our girls, like one thing that they could do to improve their exposure to toxic chemicals.
That's a really good question. You know, I would say whatever product is being placed in at the largest circumference of your body, right? Like a little of this is different than this, right? You know, and
so like your oil, your body lotion type thing.
I would go oil, but whatever your body lotion, like number one, that's going all over. So that must be like the first thing. Of course, the first thing is deodorant. I mean, that's, I mean, I always forget I have to say that. That's a no-brainer. That's actually the number one thing that brings people in. They're like, oh, I need to switch. I was thinking I need to switch my deodorant out. And then we like crack them into the whole world of everything, you know, but it's the deodorant that brings them in.
Okay.
So that's great.
That's the gateway.
That's the gateway. The deodorant's the gateway 100%.
Okay, cool. And so in deodorant, we're looking for deodorant that doesn't have what?
Aluminum.
Okay.
And, you know, not the word antiperspirant.
Okay.
It's the psychology again with the verbiage on that. It's like, but I don't want to sweat. And it's like, well, there's different ways we can, you know, if we, you know, treat your underarms like we do your face, we can neutralize your pH and you won't sweat and you won't, you know what I mean? Like there's so much we can get to the root of what these issues are. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, no antiperspirant, no aluminum, and no fragrance. There's still, even in the clean deodorants, the aluminum-free deodorants, it's going to be synthetic fragrance.
Wow.
I brought you one, actually.
Thank you.
Love. Agent Nature.
Amazing. Okay.
Agent Nature. This is her probiotic deodorant, which supports the healthy bacteria.
We've got to love that microbiome.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, what a great idea! And look, Aimee.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that.
Honey.
Oh God, I love when that happens. God.
That's amazing.
So
I love that.
Agent Nature, that's one of our anchor brands.
Yeah.
Jenna Cavello, her very first product was a deodorant.
Wow.
Back, 7 years ago, I think she started off, and I was like, we need. And so we were one of her first accounts, and now she's global.
Wow.
She's global. She's a gangster all over the world.
Oh my God, I want to have her on the show.
Oh, you'll appreciate her. She's something else.
I'm really blown away with like what women have done in the last decade.
Time.
I really am. And that's like, I feel like I could do this podcast for a decade and never run out of amazing women because we've been so busy.
Yeah.
We've been so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Change your deodorant. Think about your lotion, what you're using on the biggest parts of your body.
Yeah. What's all over the body, and no synthetic fragrance, no synthetic perfume, no body shop stuff.
Okay.
They cannot. I don't know. It's serious.
Okay. So what's the alternative?
Essential oils. There's so many brands now that's the other thing about technology. The rapid rate at which these clean beauty brands are coming out with the next thing, it's so rad to watch.
Is there like a really good app that we can use to make to like track the safety?
My favorite app is Yucca. Yuka.
Yuka.
It's the one. And I used to do Think Dirty. Well, let me take you back a little further. I used to do environmental working group.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I actually put the whole store together, was through the environmental working group back in 2011, and just like, and even then it was still really hard to figure things out and source and stuff like that. But they were, I couldn't have done it without environmental working group. And then, so it was that. And then Think Dirty popped up, which is amazing. It's just beauty products though. Okay. Which is great. However, it's so funny as things get bigger, you start to go, well, that doesn't kind of make sense. And that, I think it's just the name of the game of like maybe getting too big and having too much, funding, advertising, things take a turn, I feel.
Oh, yeah. When you get too corporate.
When you get too corporate, things take a turn and you can feel it and you can see it and you can be like, well, why is this rated like this, but that's not rated like that? Anyways, allegedly.
Interesting.
So then we discovered Yucca, and Yucca is all encompassing: cleaning products, food, beauty products. It's everything.
So it's an app.
It's an app
on your phone. And how do you use it?
It's so easy. You open it and you just scan a barcode. You don't have to type a thing in. You don't have to type an ingredient. You boom, scan a barcode. Everything pops up, gives it a rating, breaks down each ingredient. Amazing for, anybody with allergies. I mean, if you need to, the kids with the peanuts and the this, and you can set, filters, and it's like, I can't have any products like this. It'll give recommendations. If you scan something and it's like super toxic, it'll say, or you can choose these. And you're like, this is so cool.
No way.
It's the coolest.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a simple change. And it's a simple way that we can lean into technology to clean up our lives. I love that. Yeah. I mean, I was just reading a study that said that women are exposed to over 160 toxic chemicals per day.
Per day.
Yeah. It's like amazing. And I'm thinking, making those simple little changes so we can swap, so we're not getting exposed because we're getting poisoned. And
it's interesting. I just had an interesting conversation today with a client who, she's a dentist.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch, especially the professionals, be like intrigued and question the things. And she's like, well, don't tell me you don't believe in fluoride in your toothpaste. And I went, well, let's talk about it. This is a complex issue. I'd love to talk more with you about it. Right. So anyways, wait, where was I going with that?
Yeah. No, people don't even understand.
Saying, but it's only trace amounts.
Right.
And I said, but trace amounts over 50 years. Mm-hmm. And who's regulating these trace amounts?
Yeah.
Like we got to keep, I'm not taking any word for it ever, period. Never have, never will.
No. And fluoride is another byproduct of another industry. Fluoride is a byproduct of the coal industry.
Dude, I dare you, I dare anyone to dip your finger in a glass of fluoride and lick it off your finger.
No,
would you do that? No.
No.
Well, why would we?
I know. I haven't used fluoride in my toothpaste for a long time. And I just recently found hydroxyapatite. And it goes in your toothpaste and it actually remineralizes your teeth.
And that's the thing.
Instead of fluoride, it does what fluoride promised to do.
It does what fluoride promised to do without the neurotoxin.
Yes. It's the most amazing thing ever. And it's really, my mom being an organic chemist, I was always like, Mom, why is fluoride in our toothpaste? And she'd be like, it makes your teeth, it goes into the pores and it fills your teeth, basically any of the holes in your teeth. She goes, but the one thing about fluoride that's bad is it makes your teeth more brittle. And I was always like, that is so interesting. So it makes them stronger, but more brittle. Where the hydroxyapatite goes in, fills the little pores, the little holes in our teeth, and makes it actually stronger, actually prevents tooth decay without making your teeth any weaker at all.
Right.
So cool.
It's like nature really has the solution to everything, you know?
Yeah.
It's like anything man-made was just, you know, a mimic of nature and, you know, with like a crazy twist, like side effects.
Yeah.
Like we're just going back to the basics. You
Oh
know?
my gosh. Yeah.
We have a line. I brought one of her products, Living Libations. I don't know if you've heard of this. She's out of Canada. Nadine Artemis, brilliant woman, creates this huge, massive line. She probably has hundreds of products, full 8-step dental care.
Wow.
You know, remineralizing tooth clay, ozonated gum gel that will completely restructure your mouth.
No way.
CoQ10, you know, oil pulling. And it's the most beautiful, you know, pearl powder on your toothbrush. Like it is so magical. She wrote a book, Holistic Dental Care.
Wow.
And we have the whole line. And it's such a wonderful thing to have. People drive from all over to get it. You can't get it anywhere.
That's amazing. I'm coming in. I can't wait to get the whole line. I'm so excited.
This is her one of her hero products. It's called Best Skin Ever.
Nice.
And this is a multi-purpose oil that you can use as a oil cleanse, as a moisturize, a body moisturize. There's no rules, you know.
Wow.
It's infused with frankincense, which is just going to be your, you know, first aid, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, you know, super supportive. And, you know, these are things kind of I have a lot to say that these companies I don't think would say. Like, for example, if this is too powerful for your face, because not everybody can use it on your body.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just like alternatives to all this stuff that is so alive and nourishing.
And mostly it seems like female founded brands.
The future is female. The past is female. We got messed up in the middle there.
Yeah, it's so true. I'm just so excited. I really am like being on the brink of this. I really think this female business revolution that's coming down the pipeline because women do profoundly amazing. We do things not for the money.
That's right.
We do it because it's the right thing.
That's right.
We do it because we found a purpose in it.
Bingo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We do it because it lights a fire in us. Yep. You know, and we found a passion in it and it makes you want to get out of bed every day. Yeah. Yeah. And you found your thing.
Thank God. I'm so grateful.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so grateful.
Right?
Oh my God.
Like finding your thing, finding your purpose, aligning with your true self.
Thank God. Yeah.
It's like this beautiful gift to you.
Yeah.
Like imagine you without it.
Yeah.
And then there's someone out there right now that hasn't quite aligned with themselves yet. Right. Do you have a word of wisdom for them?
I do. I feel like, you know, really, you know, before we started this convo, we were talking about traveling solo.
Yes.
You know, the deep understanding of like what commentary is on a loop in our head and how different people and topics make our bodies feel. To remove ourselves from all external, you know, input and like be alone, travel alone, go for days by yourself. I feel like, you know, it's going to help us like guide into what it is we want, what lights our fire. Yeah.
Aligning with ourselves.
Getting aligned with ourselves. How does this make me feel? Like, for example, I love astrology. So I'm always like, when's your birthday? When's your birthday? When's your birthday? And I met somebody a couple weeks ago and I was noticing how I felt from this person's energy. And I was like, I'm not going to ask him when his birthday is, because I'm just going to solely go off of what I'm feeling. You know what I mean? And not put any thought, or it was fascinating. I was like, oh, just tapping into how our body feels in every situation, and don't let the mind jump in yet.
Yes.
Just, you know what I mean? And I try and teach that too with skincare.
Right.
Is, when they say, well, how do I know what cleanser to use? And how do I know what moisturizers to use? And I'm trying to say, you open up your cabinet in the morning and you check in with your skin. Mm-hmm. How's my skin feeling right now? Is it dry? Did I sleep with the heater on? Is it tight? Mm-hmm. This cream makes me super moisturized and I feel dry right now, so I'm going to use that one. Like, each thing has a cause and effect in how it makes it feel. So like taking that time to tap in and get called to what thing does what. And that goes with everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Being quiet and taking the time to just be intentional about something, checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
I love that.
Totally.
I love that so
much.
It's
a practice. It's, it's a practice.
A daily practice.
100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Laura, you are just absolutely amazing.
Thanks,
and I love you so much.
Thank you so much.
And I love your work. And I'm so grateful for women like you who have just been, just a champion and a voice for the non-toxic products and keeping us safe and teaching us, teaching us the way and how to walk the path and how we can do better, and supporting all of these other women-owned companies with your company. And thank you so much for all the hard work you've put in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're the best.
We're blessed. Thanks, babe.
Thank you.